That was chaos in Kejeta Market. But talking about chaos associated with elections, let's go to your election central where laws on vigilantism will be enforced to ensure free, fair, transparent and credible elections. This is President Akufo-Addo's stern warning ahead of December elections. The president stressed that his government is determined to strictly enforce the law in order to ensure a peaceful and orderly election period.
Ghana has been in our generation a beacon of democracy on the African continent, and it is our collective duty to safeguard this reputation jealously. Anyone who seeks to subvert the free will of the people will be dealt with in accordance with law. No candidate or political party is superior to the will of the Ghanaian people. Government is determined to enforce strictly the law on vigilantism. Any individual or group found culpable and falling foul of the law will be made to face its full rigors. Vigilantism has no place in our democratic space, and we must all work together to ensure a peaceful and orderly election period.
So talking about vigilantism, here are portions of Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999, on the video to be shown shortly. So it says that prohibition of vigilante groups and activities. 1. A person shall not directly or indirectly A. form, organize, operate, or B. promote the formation, organization, operation, or activities of vigilante group. 2. A person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on the conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 10 years and not more than 15 years. Clause 3, a person shall not take part in the activity, act as a member, or subscribe to a membership of vigilante groups. 4, a person who contravenes subsection 3 commits an offense and is liable to conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 10 years and not more than 15 years. And clause 5 says that despite a provision in any enactment, a person who takes part in an activity of a vigilante group armed with an offensive weapon commits an offense and is liable to conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 15 years and not more than 25 years. And clause 6 says, despite subsection 2, 4, and 5, a person who is convicted for contravening subsection 1, 3, or 5 is disqualified from holding any public political or political party office until at least 10 years have elapsed from the date of the conviction or after the end of the sentence. And we've been joined on the line by the fraud and security consultant, Richard Kumado, for more on this conversation. Richard, thank you so much. You're welcome to Newsbeat. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Anne.
Right, and you're welcome. So let's go straight into what vigilantism is and what the law is considering, where we have it being played out right in our faces, yet we're pretending we can't see, especially in terms of land tenure system.
Definitely, I agree with you. When you read it, I was just shaking that even if we have been able to implement or enforce just 1/3 of what you read, not just the full law, but just 1/3 of what you read, our society would have been cleared of land guarding activities, which translates into political violence, which is mostly masterminded by people within the vigilante community. I'm happy the president has brought to the fore again and is warning the ramifications for people who find themselves within any of the categories. But it will also be sad to say that ever since the president signed the act into law in 2019, we have not, as a nation, be able to enforce it in any form or in any shape. And that gives privileges to people who are already vigilantes or people who might want to associate with any of these groupings that has been described as vigilante groups. And this is where we are, and it's unfortunate.
So considering, on hindsight, considering maybe what happened in election 2020, Ayawaso West Wagon has been a test case. Are we able to go by the president's word? Because we know how we set up a committee, investigates, the recommendations of the committee have not been implemented. We now have a Vigilantism Act, and like you stated or confirmed, we are even unable, in the face of all that is happening, implement it. Are we able to take the president by his word?
You see, in crime prevention, for which vigilante is a major crime and land guarding activities is a major destructive activity or element within the Ghana society, non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies within societies. Then inconclusive investigations will also make sure that the perpetrators have an upper hand over law enforcement officers. I would have been happy wake up in the morning and take one of the cases as a test case and see how our police officers who are the forefront of enforcing the laws of this country will be able to run at the backdrop of what the president said. You reference Ayawaso West Wagon. You remembered a commission was set up and the recommendations from the commission was brushed off, and that became a disadvantage to law enforcement, this particular law within the Ghana society and the destructive nature it could have posed. To the extent that the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, is reiterating the dangers and the relativeness of not engaging in vigilantism and making sure that people confine themselves or reform themselves relating to election 2024, I will be glad and I will be watching to see whether Dan Parry and his men will take the president's word and run with it in relation to anybody who will cross the red line by being a culprit who should be tested in this particular law. When I found the Independent Election Security and Compliance Watchers in 2007, I have done what we call political risk assessment across all the constituencies in Ghana. And you could see issues of vigilantism is one, issues of land guarding is two, and issues of political risks is and outcomes of elections, which sometimes have some tendencies of people taking the law into their own hands, which is becoming a national security risk for Ghana. So I was happy the president spoke about it. Let's put pressure on frontline law enforcement officers and make sure that they take the president's word and they will enforce the laws when it is brought to their attention. In that regard, we might be sending a strong warning to people who want to take the law into their own hands. Other than that, it become a window dressing and it will become a mirage in one of the many laws we have passed that we have not been able to enforce it.
Right, Richard Kumado, thank you. We'll leave it here. Thank you for your time.